photos and tell them stories, they can say, well, look, that's what's happening up there.
Tell that story.
Tell the story properly,
Uncharted territory.
Uncharted territory now, we've never been here before. So, and then we'll go in and pick up our groceries in Cunnamulla, and then we'll bring them out and then we'll boat them across here. Because of the bridges, we've been waiting on a new bridge at Bulloo for a while now, and this one here, but you know, they're big dollars, but as I said the other day, you know, the Thargomindah River cuts us off. We can't go that way, and if it rains up between the two rivers and the Bulloo River, we can't get up there, so we've got to go out this way. And if the Wilson crosses it, cuts us off, we can't get that way, but when them rivers are in flood, we go that way, and it's 12 hours round trip. 12 hours round and 24 hours. So 24 hours round trip. And I keep on saying that if that was happening in Brisbane, there'd be a bloody riot on it. Who would drive 24 hours for bloke for bread and bottom milk? They wouldn't do it, you know.
So this is your levy up here.
And we've got
Otherwise you'll
lose our phones.
communication too.
Although we've
And
got
not just phones, but internet.
everything. Yeah, we've got Starlink. All the businesses have got Starlink. We've got Starlink on our council office. We've got Starlink on the information centre. A lot of the private people have got Starlink, and that gives them that little bit of communication. So the sat phones are getting not as good as they used to be, you know, but the Starlink seems to be good. You can buy another Starlink. I'm keeping them busy, so they're nothing to worry about.
No doubt about your truck.
Well, we'll go up here now. We'll go up in the office and sit down. I got
The new IGA, that's up.
It's up high.
Yeah, it'll be right. We've only just got a brand new. We had a fire. It was a fire, wasn't it?
Yeah,
burnt it down. Yeah, so it's only just been rebuilt. Probably got 6 months.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
6 months.
that's a great building.
It's actually pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a little small community like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So this
for a while. And, you know, we've got 3 big events coming up. We've got one in May, which is the Music in the Mulga, which is a big event, and it's basically run down the radio down. There'll be that much water down there now, but that'll be gone. And then we've got the Shire Syndic, which is over at the football oval, which is right down the water now. And then we got the Channel Country Music Muster, which is down there as well. So by the time that all turns up, all this should be gone. You know,
Dead
hopefully.
sheep up against fences floating along. That's about all we can see where they went, but I would imagine, you know, we're some of the biggest beef producing country in this Channel Country, southwest corner, and it's going to have massive effects on how we go with the economy, but also just trying to, you know, we really need to get tourists out here this year to try and get things moving and help out as much as they can.
What do you need from the state and federal government right now?
Right now,
Or in the next 6-12 months, what's needed?
Look, we were told here 13, 14 months ago we were going to have river gauges supplied all up the Bulloo River. We don't have that yet. Unfortunately, that has caused mass destruction for us. We don't have any weather radars anywhere around here. If we knew that we were going to get 5 days of constant rain that we got, we could have had these levee banks up. We could have been doing so much more. And you know, we've had a lot of help from the bomb in the last couple of days, but living in an area that's quite prone to drought, we get told we're getting rain and we don't take a whole lot of notice of it. More times than not, we don't get the rain that we're ever predicted to get, and we're now, you know, it just went around everything that anyone has seen. As I said, I've been here my whole life. I have never seen rain like this. My mum's been here her whole life. My father's been within the district. I think there was a cyclone, Little Audrey, I don't know if that was 74 or 73 or something like that. In that cyclone, I remember Dad saying that there was a lot of rain. I still don't know if it went for 5 constant days. So if we had a bit of pre-warning, I think it could have saved or helped a lot of devastation that's going on here in Ada Vale and Quilby, Paru, Cunnamulla, Charles even getting a bit of water through it. So yeah, there's nothing that's worked for us. We're not going to be able to get those boys out there for a long time. Every other road into Thargomindah, the streets in Thargomindah is going to be massive. We'll probably keep our boys that are out on that Warrygate job. They're going to be working around close to where we can get to. It's just I don't know what sort of help we're going to need. Extra people in Thargomindah by the time this event is over. Our local people are exhausted. We're going to need help to help us clean up, to help these homes that have been inundated. Yeah.
Leadership and your council staff, it's been right across Western Queensland. You go from Winton, Paru, Bulloo, Barcoo, Winton and Longreach. Every council has stood up in protecting their communities, and we've stood together, and we're on our way through this, and there'll be some benefits that come out of this after the short-term pain. We'll get a good season out of this.
We will.
And we're just saying to Australians, if they want to help, the best thing they can do is a month's time, get your caravan or just come out and have a look around here. There's plenty of good motel rooms. You can do a lot for this part of the world. But part of that healing is about making sure you aren't forgotten, and we are committing to that radar station today to make sure. And I've got to say, it wasn't until Saturday and I sat down in Quilpie with the residents of Adavale. There's 27 residents of Adavale. They've lost their town. They've lost their homes, and they had no warning. The nearest radar is 2,000 kilometres away at Alice Springs. The Bureau of Meteorology didn't have the data to be able to warn them, and it was literally a life and death situation. There are people I met on Saturday that are lucky to have their lives today. If it wasn't for the swift action of the local policemen and a couple of locals, we could have had fatalities on our hands because they'd lost communication with the outside world. The closest town was 100 kilometres away in Quilpie. They had no one to ring, they had no help to get but themselves. But we've got to give the Bureau the tools they need to be able to get early warnings in there so someone can get to them and they know that something's happening and we can make those informed decisions. And it is timely that we're here, that we understand, the rest of Australia understands that these are just the tools that most Australians take for granted. But this is life and death, and it shouldn't matter whether it's 27 people or 27,000 people. We actually need these tools. We need a radar to be able to equip the bomb with that data to allow the heroes like Tractor and his council staff to mobilise and lead their communities. And we are just lucky. We are just damn lucky that no one lost their life over the last couple of weeks because it was just because of their courage and their conviction that saved it. And I'm just saying, now's the time for us not to skimp on anything. Is the first pathway to give these people confidence in Western Queensland is to give them the tools. That what happened in Adavale doesn't happen again. That we can say to the people of Adavale and right across Western Queensland, you will have the tools to protect yourselves, as every other Australian should. That shouldn't matter on your postcode. And thanks Peter for coming out here, mate. This just shows what it is to be Australian. This is the essence of real Australia that our country was built on, out here. And they've had a tough run, but they're not over and they're ready to fight on. But if we make a small investment in them and their well-being and their lives, we'll get a return. And so we wanted to make that commitment today. And can I just say to David Crucifulli, the other commitments that he's making and will make, and I know in a bipartisan way with the government around the immediate recovery. And it's important that I know there's a lot of talk about getting Defence Force in here quickly. The thing that we need to do is actually support local contractors first, because many of those choppers that you're seeing out at the airport, they may not have an income for another 18 months. So we need to utilise to their full capacity all the local contractors in Western Queensland to get the fodder out there before we start rolling troops in here, because their economy, their jobs and their employees won't have anything at the end of this. So I just congratulate David Crucifulli for the way that he has handled this and understanding that it's not just about saving life and limb, it's about making sure that these towns have a future into the long run and that those jobs are protected by employing every last person in town to deploy the recovery that's needed here and now. And then if their capacity is reached, then we do reach into the Defence Force. I know it's great television to have the Defence Force roll in, but the main thing we've got to do is let these men and women, these contractors do their job, and when the Defence Force is needed, they'll be there. I know Peter will work with the Prime Minister if that call comes, but David Crucifulli has pulled the right rein every time on this, and we just make sure, and he knows that we're there to give that up support if we need to. So thanks for coming, Peter, and it means a lot to lift spirits to know that this is a real important part of Australia. There's 220 people living in Thargo, so there's not too many votes.
180 on the roll or something like that.
180.
Last election.
But this is just about saying to you, Tractor, and to all those mayors, Paru, Barku, Winton and Longreach, thank you. We really appreciate it, but we're going to invest in you and your future so that you don't have to go
Tamie, to
through.
all of the staff that we've spoken to today, just quintessential Australians working your guts out and really doing the right thing by the community. So I want to say thank you very much for the leadership you've demonstrated, and the water obviously would be inundating where we're standing here if the 24/7 work hadn't taken place with building the levees that you've directed and that the contractors and the council workers have undertaken. To see any building, any home inundated with water is incredibly confronting, because somebody's life is devastated or their business is destroyed. So you've saved many houses and many businesses from that. Some obviously haven't been able to be saved, but the rebuild will be incredibly important. And as David says, in time for the next event, you need to have the forewarning, and the radar, the $10 million investment into that is, I think, incredibly important. So we want to provide whatever support we can now and into the recovery phase and then beyond that. And we've obviously been speaking with the Premier here, who I think is doing a great job, and to DLP, who's an incredible local member, well respected, really passionate about this part of the world, and has a great understanding of what people are going through and ways in which he can practically provide support. So DLP, it's a great credit to you, mate, what you've been able to do, and conversations I know that you've had with the Premier and others about using locals and making sure that they're supported, because their families will go without income, as you say, potentially for months and months. Final call is to every Australian: if you're thinking about going out to see Western Queensland, and you've spoken about doing it in years past, make this year the year. Make sure that you spend some money in a town like this and let them recover once the waters recede, which will be soon enough. But make the plan now and have a look at the maps and do your research, and then come and spend a couple of nights in Thargomindah and elsewhere right across Western Queensland, and help these great Queenslanders recover from what is a really traumatic event. So, mate, thanks for having us. Really
Good on you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.
Good on you, Dave.
Tractor, how does this flood compare? How does this flood compare to what you experienced in 1974 and 2010?
Way above that. 1974 was 6.78. This one's 7 metres now, and it hasn't stopped. It's still sneaking up. I'm hoping to hell that's going to start. It'll peak tonight, which we hope it will. If it doesn't, well, we'll see what happens anyway. We'll deal with it when it gets here. But I think 7 metres is, say that there's a river gauge up to the river here, 30k up there. It's gone. So it's never seen these big floods before either. Probably that old house over there, I reckon would have seen a few of them. It's been there over 100 years, but 74, 1963 was a good one. 2010 was the next to 1974. It was 6.48. So it went a couple of days ago.
Would you like to see the Prime Minister come out here when you?
Yeah, why not? These fellas are here. Why don't he can turn up too if he wants to? He'll be welcome here the same as these blokes are. And then he'll have an idea then what we're going through, and why we need this bloody radar, and why we need these river gauges. It's all right to sit in Canberra and say, well, I'm going to do it. Well, come out, mate, and have a look at us, so you can see exactly what's happening.
But I can't change the past, but we can change the future. There are decisions made by new governments about funding that we had set aside for radars and gauges, and we do that in partnership with state. I can't change what those decisions were of the new government. But what I can change is these people's future, to give them the confidence to know that they're going to be able to have the equipment to keep themselves safe and their families safe. That's what this is about. A $10 million investment is minuscule to what the people of Thargo and Winton, right down, Junda and Windora need. And we feel like forgotten Australians sometimes out here, and we're not asking for a lot, but we give a lot. We give a lot. If you want to go just a little bit further west of here, a fair bit of the nation's gas is drilled, and there's a fair bit of beef and sheep that come out of this country that feeds our nation. So we're not asking for a lot, and it's been mistakes of the past to cut funding to these sort of programs. And the Northwest Queensland floods were really